Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. I would like to make a few comments on some things in the news. First of all, I haven't seen much discussion really about the two incidents which occurred very close in time to each other where people on planes went completely crazy. One of them was a pilot who was acting bizarrely after having gone to the restroom in the plane, tried to return to the cockpit, and after making some rather bizarre changes to settings and messing with dials and switches while talking about terrorism attacks, bombs, and planes exploding, wisely led out of the cabin by fellow crew members and locked out of the flight cabin, and then wrestled to the ground and kept under restraint until the plane came in for a landing. No real explanation about this. Certainly nothing in his demeanor to indicate that he was anywhere close to any kind of mental breakdown. So one has to wonder exactly what is going on here, especially when, I think it was within another day or so of that incident, we had a woman who went crazy on a plane and started actually physically assaulting the flight crew. And the one thing we did find out about the pilot, I think his name was Olson, that his father actually died in a plane crash. His father was a pilot also. This guy had a lot of years of experience. Nothing indicating that he had anything approaching a mental collapse. But, two things happening very close together like that always make me wonder exactly what it is that is going on here. Is it just that people are getting crazy from all of the stuff that's going on with air travel, with the TSA and all that kind of stuff? Or, are there games being played on people in an effort to make people afraid to fly or to try to give it up? There's been a long-standing notion that there's a conspiracy to restrict travel, and that all of the efforts being made to provide security via the TSA and other things are designed to discourage people from flying, so that ultimately in the end people are restricted from traveling and moving in any kind of easy fashion. And of course that would be in line with the Agenda 21 supposed UN plan. Now, it's absolutely clear that the U.S. government and other agencies and other forces at work in the world certainly have agendas that they try to push, and they would not be beyond trying to effect a change of this magnitude by using some kind of underhanded means to do so, whether that be drugging people and causing them to act bizarrely and crazy, and subjecting people to humiliation and unnecessary searches via the TSA in order to cut down on their travel via plane, thus limiting people's ability to move and to move rapidly. As far as Agenda 21 goes, of course, that is a real program. One, of course, has to take it with a certain grain of salt, because ultimately it depends on a lot of different factors. And there also is a certain conspiratorial bent to the idea that everything would be moved in quite literally the type of planning that is said to be occurring with Agenda 21. And of course we're a long way off from that, and we may never reach the point where such a thing could actually occur at the rate we're going. With war on the horizon, not anytime soon I don't think, but still very much as a possibility. And a lot of other things like economic collapse and things of this nature, which certainly would throw any idea of implementing some sort of plan of this nature into effect. So take that with a grain of salt, please. I also wanted to talk about the National Defense Preparation Executive Order that Obama signed into law, and point out that the same law, basically exactly the same, has been in effect since Harry Truman was president. And the president had the power to actually seize any assets for whatever purposes. I mean, one could argue the semantics and say, well, certainly the intention of the National Defense Preparedness Act from Truman onward was meant only to justify the seizing of assets in the case of war or other things of this nature. But in actual fact, over the years, over the decades since that time, there's been an increasing, what would you say, a reassertion of the president's authority to do things, with a further clarification and additional things always being added, so that eventually the president will become the unlimited autocratic emperor dictator and will be able to do whatever the fuck he wants when he's in office. Okay? Now, that said, if Bush had decided he wanted to seize some company or asset or holding or a farm, whatever, he could have done it. He could have done it with no fucking problem at all. So the point is that just because this executive order is under Obama doesn't mean Obama is the architect of anything. And it doesn't mean necessarily that he's going to start coming and seizing everybody's shit tomorrow. I'm no fan of the asshole who occupies the White House right now, as you all well know, nor the one who preceded him, or the one before that, or the one before that, or the one before that, or any of the motherfuckers. But the point of the matter is, you have to look at things in context and understand exactly what it is that's going on before jumping to conclusions to try and support a notion that is designed to paint a particular character as somehow more evil than any of the other ones. You know? So, I know Obama is a piece of shit and a scumbag. I've seen exactly what he's done since he's been in office. I told you exactly what he would do if he were to get into office prior to his even winning the Democratic Party nomination in 2008. And I also predicted that he would be president prior to that as well. And I told you exactly what to expect from him, and everything that I said has come true. So I think I know what I'm talking about. This is just more par for the course activity. Who's it really going to benefit? It's going to benefit the next guy down the line, who then will further consolidate the presidential powers, etc. ad infinitum. It's part of his duties by the powers that be. So that when they snap their fucking fingers and tell him they want him to do something for them, he does it as quickly and efficiently as possible. Because let's face it, the president is only a puppet acting in the interests of his masters. So, one additional commentary on the Trayvon Martin shooting. And apparently, a voice recognition expert has examined the tape of this screaming for help that accompanied the assault and shooting that occurred in Florida. Or I should say, the alleged assault and shooting that occurred in Florida. And according to at least one expert who examined the tape and listened to it, the person screaming for help was not George Zimmerman. Therefore, it casts into doubt his entire story. Now, as I said before, it is very vital and keenly important for people to remember that one must not jump to any kind of conclusions. It is very easy to come out on day one and point to something that is an obvious tragedy because you have a person dead who might otherwise not be dead and be home with his loving family right now. But at the same time, there are always multiple angles and versions of events that people have to realize. One thing that I would very much like to make a point about, and I hope that people will listen without letting their emotions jump all over them and climb down my fucking throat because I'm making a fucking observation that you should maybe listen to. Okay? Now I see all of the solidarity in the black community and in others who are coming together to support the family of Trayvon Martin and to denounce his killing. Okay? Now regardless of what happened there, and I'm even more convinced now that Zimmerman instigated any altercation between those two. He started whatever it is that happened. Therefore, he was not defending himself in any way. And therefore, he killed him and is liable for some kind of criminal action against him, whether that be manslaughter, murder, whatever. Okay, that's my belief at this point in time. Regardless of that, okay, regardless of that, a sad tragedy happened and a person is dead. And I think it's wonderful that people are coming together to support the family and to denounce this act of violence and to come together to demand that justice be done. But let me ask you something. When I see all of these people marching and coming together because of one tragic death, which is a terrible fucking tragedy, absolutely, 100% agree, I have to ask, where is this same community of people? Where is this same group of people who are so focused on justice and seeing to it that villains and criminals are brought to justice for the injudicial treating and killing of people of their own class and their own race? Where are these people when countless times, every fucking day, black people are murdered by other black people and by the system that is cops and others? Where are they denouncing the injustice in this system? Where are they denouncing this fucking president who has completely fucking sold out his own race? Who has completely sold every one of you out, totally, and down the fucking river? Who supports this fucking totalitarian establishment, which, I might add, for those of you who are not aware of it, greatly goes against blacks, vastly outnumber others in prison, vastly outnumber others in drug-related offenses, vastly outnumber others in every other kind of thing related to the fucking justice system in this country, which is a fucking joke. So where are all these people talking about the fucking injustice of this fucking system? Why aren't they down in Washington, D.C., fucking standing outside the motherfucking White House and demanding that something be done? And demanding the head of this fucking president and throw his ass out of fucking office because he is the biggest fucking sellout to black people in this country in the history of the fucking presidency. Why? Because he's a fucking wolf in sheep's clothing. That's why. So if I see people come together for one tragic death, a shooting that should never have occurred, I have to ask myself, why can't you come together to tell this president to pack his fucking bags and go the back fucking home? And do something about the injustice system in this motherfucking country. That's what I have to ask. And for all the other murders, and for all the other terrible fucking tragedies, for the tragedy in Africa that Obama wants to perpetrate even more against more black people. Murder by bombs from the air. without people even seeing the fucking death and fucking destruction. Black people killed and murdered in other countries on the order of this man in the fucking White House. A complete sellout to his own fucking people. Where's the outrage about that? I'd really love to fucking see it. I really would. Thank you.